Hello, this is E.M.B.R. Welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about PRL full. This is a route I've put off for 3 years, but Eric Min did a group ride and I finally figured, why not? But here's some lessons learned. I'm not going to show you the whole ride, but just some things I learned and maybe will help you when you take it on, if you do ever take it on. We're a little over halfway on PRL full. Eric Min's group. So far what I've learned. Do this in a group. That's lesson one. Much easier. Well, I don't know, much easier, but feels good. Take the flat slow. The hill, this group's been responsible, civilized, doing about 4 watts per kg average, but whatever is that. Maybe FTP just a little below on the hills. Don't kill yourself every hill. For me, that's been somewhere 750 to 808. But whatever's, again, just below FTP, no higher on the hill. Early on, be willing to let a group that's going faster than that go. I think I'm in group 3 at this point. Group 1, I knew that was suicide. Group 2 probably could have stuck with, but they were going 4.5 or so on the hill. And eventually, that just becomes painful. This has actually been, I'm not going to say enjoyable, but I don't think I'm going to be devastated at the end, which is a good thing. We're peaking a little less civilized as I talk. There we go. But if you get a large enough group, you can let people go and fall back to a group that's being more responsible. But this group has generally been pretty good. You can see the consistency of the climbs there on the left, 740 to 810. Last few ones have been right around 8. I think 740 was the one with group 2 where I decided to fall back or let them go and do something more civilized. But outside of that, fuel-wise, you can see bottles everywhere. I've been doing 500 ml bottles with a 60 gram carb solution, 40 grams of the maltodextrin. Brain shut off for a second. 40 grams of maltodextrin, 20 grams of fructose, gram of salt, and some Ultima Replenisher electrolyte for flavoring, and some extra electrolytes. But so yeah, 500 ml bottles per hour, sipping on like a quarter of it every 15 minutes, just to keep it steady. Never get behind, but never slamming the system all at once either. And so far, I would say it's felt easy, but this has not been hell on earth by any stretch. It's been very sustainable. I guess talk to me at the end. What I'm going to do is show this climb, a little bit of the descent here for another tip, and then after that I'll check back in on the last lap. But yeah, so far
do it in a group. That's piece of advice number one. Once in the group, don't let your ego get you. Just find something that's within your means. Relax on the flats, and don't take the hill too hard. Pace you can talk through like this. If you can't talk through it, you're going too hard. Yeah, we'll probably finish this one around the 8-minute mark again. Bring music. I shut mine off to talk. Just you to have music in the background, but music has been invaluable as well. You can coffee stop. A few of these climbs, there's been the Great Wall of Coffee ahead of me. But you'll see in a second, there's a built-in coffee stop every lap on the descent. As you can see, this group is civilized. We mostly stay right around 4 watts per kg. I think we're maybe on a sub 5 pace, but again, I'm not killing myself here. That would be wholly unpleasant to ride this at like threshold the whole way. At least for me, not something I have any practice at doing, but climb at threshold and then a lot of rest and then climb at threshold. That seems alright, as long as it's an honest threshold and not above. Again, no place for ego unless you want to be in pain at some point in this ride, which I don't. Not that kind of ride. You can see in the graph, for me, I know 4 may sound high, but for roughly 8 minutes, yellow and green, maybe a touch into orange, which you want to avoid. It's not bad. It's felt sustainable. That was the 7th time, and it felt really no harder than the first. But yeah, pretty good group as you can see here. I don't need many, 10 to 12, even 6 to 8, whatever. Just try to find a group that's being responsible. The next piece here, if you got a responsible group, there's 2 areas. I mean, outside of the long climb, there's this kicker at the end and the escalator heading back into the city. It just don't kill each other going up that. We still have hit probably 5.5 watts or more each time in this, but at least we're not like totally slaughtering each other on it. One person notwithstanding, but we'll catch them on the downhill. Speaking of the downhill, I'll demonstrate here This is truly, I've been taking it roughly at 9%. At this point, if you want to, you could literally walk away from the bike, go to the bathroom, come back. I don't need to at the moment, but I'm just showing for the sake of argument. It doesn't hurt to stretch either way if you don't have to go to the bathroom. But I have to watch the clock. I suspect you could, I may try it next lap. I suspect you could probably even get a bib change in if you wanted to. Again, just to demonstrate, I'm not even going to pedal this whole hill forward. But so far, at 79 kg, I'm almost, I probably should caveat this, I'm 79 kg, so I can definitely walk away from the bike. It's possible someone at 55, 60 kg or something like that may not be able to. Someone in the comments had to tell me about that. But my experience has been, you got a couple minutes to walk away from the bike without even coffee stopping every lap. Without really even worrying about it. And about here, you'd have to be back, or you would start to fall off. But I guess we'll look at the clock, how many, that was 2 minutes or what that was. It's a good, reasonable chunk of time. You could certainly get to the bathroom and back. Flats here, you just sort of settle in. Something low zone 2, maybe even zone 1 a little bit. Again, we've been very civilized, and even at this civilized pace, still, again, we can maybe get this done under 5 hours. And here's the other piece where try to be civilized to each other. I've just been, if I have a draft, hitting it after that. But we mostly come back together. Nobody really stretches out a little. What, 100 kilometers in, 70 to go. I'll take this to the banner, just to kind of show this is through the banner. It's going to be the same thing all the way to the bottom of the hill again, but roughly just settling in. Blue and gray here. Which makes the little bit of yellow every lap on the hill not so bad. Again, that's what's my average is 230 watts, 2.9 watt per kg, which is comfortably zone 2 for me for the duration of the ride. I don't have average heart rate, but you can see my heart rate right now is 140. I wasn't paying attention to what it was on the hill, but I wasn't stressed at all. Should be like an all-day pace for the most part. On the flats, a little bit above all-day pace on the hill. Rinse, wash, wash, rinse, repeat. But yeah, no way I'd want to do this solo. Much more pleasant in a group. Which isn't to say there's a lot of PRL full groups, but I imagine at least once or twice a year you'll find one somewhere. I waited 3 years on the platform before I saw Eric Menz and said, yeah, that's the time to do it. Even though it's been pleasant, I don't think it's something I'm going to do more than once. Alright, that's the banner. Save the feather for the climb. It gets a little bit paced up on these rollers, but it's nothing significant. Maybe green. But yeah, that's about it for now. We'll check in on the last lap. One more to go, friends. Oh, if you notice, the graph is getting a little orange here. I think these guys smell the end, and we're negative splitting each climb. Which, if this were earlier, I'd say it's not sustainable and let them go. But now we're so deep in, and you do get this rest afterwards, that I'm going with it. Sub 5 is out there. And as long as it's just a climb, it's still sustainable. Another lesson learned. Of course, fuel, when you're not working hard on the downhill, easier to digest. Also, I don't need this. Unfortunately, we're on the downhill. Also, about 7 or 8 in, the sugar is starting to get a little tiresome. So I got some just straight, just electrolyte, no sugar, Ultima Replenisher. Sort of rinse the sugar out of your mouth as well as it dehydrate without having to take in calories. I'm right at the end of my 4th bottle. So a little bit, right about a bottle an hour, which is what we planned for. But I don't need to drink all this right now. So a little bit behind, but I don't feel behind. And there was a little bit, like maybe 3 or 4 in, where the stomach was like, felt like it was taking in too much too quick, even though it's maybe 125 ml, like quarter bottle every 15 minutes. It still felt a little heavy, so I sort of slowed it down just a tad, like about hitting it every 20 minutes instead of 15. And then adding in just straight liquid. So from a total hydration perspective, I'm probably 4.5, almost 5 bottles, but from a nutrition, just around 4, 60 grams per hour. Did have a big bowl of porridge this morning, coffee. That was about 3 or 4 hours before the ride. So it was pretty topped off coming into it. But follow me along. I gotta mood of that music tells you the energy of the ride, I guess. Outside of that orange on the climb, it's pretty chill. And prior to the last 2 climbs, even the climbs weren't that bad. But then here in the flats, it's been blue and gray. Outside of the little rollers. The kicker and the escalator are always red. Nothing to do about that, I guess. Maybe mentioned it last time, but the only thing that's bothering me, maybe someone smarter than me or more educated than me in the comments, my right foot, the toes always cramp up, like they scrunch in and try to grip the shoe. Had that trouble when I was doing marathons and cycling. Only the right foot. Don't know why. I don't know if it's an arch support thing or doesn't matter the shoes that I'm wearing. I don't think it's a shoe fit issue. Like I said, running or cycling. But in terms of like anything I would call discomfort, that would be it, the foot. So I'm just trying to occasionally stretch the toes out, press through the ball of foot, focus on not gripping, but beyond that, this sort of pace has been, again, it's not ice cream and cake, but it's not unpleasant. It's 25 kilometers to go, 54 minutes, even with the climb. I think we get in under 5, even without pushing it any harder than we have been. Although, given how the last 2 climbs went, I suspect this will be closer to 4.5 than 4 watts per kilo this time. Well, I should be able to hold it last time around. And I'll rest and recover after that. I have been getting lucky on the feathers, I will say that. Hasn't been every time, but I've gotten a lot of them. But yeah, on these little rollers, it kicks up a little bit. Outside of that, we're blue and gray, blue and gray. I will say this, again, at the pace that I'm taking in hydration, it seems to be at equilibrium with sweat. I've not had to walk away from the bike. I've stood up next to it just to stretch on some of the descents, maybe 2 or 3 times, but I've not had to use the restroom or anything. I think it was a guesstimate on what would work for this pacing, but I think I got it right. And I'll do fall along just into the end here, but I may either do a cut or just a fast forward speed in between talking. One lesson would be Pack Dynamics 4 has a lovely habit of it's pushing you to the outside, feather your acceleration, fall back. Or you'll just sit out there in the wind for no reason. Wasting watts. If you look, 113 watt average in draft. It's pretty good, definitely. Across almost 5-hour ride, you'll appreciate doing 100 watts less. We did it level 91, we will also, about 9 kilometers, 10 kilometers I guess, hit the metric century on Zwift for the first time. I've not sat on a bike in Zwift long enough before to do I've done 100 kilometers, but I've not done the 100-mile badge. So we'll knock that one out today too, which is a nice extra bonus. I think I'll have something like 80 kilometers left on the Rafa 500, and that's my own fault because I've mixed in so many meters between the Alp thing I did a couple days ago and now this ride. Well over 3,000, 3,500, I don't even know, probably 4,000 meters of elevation between everything I've done, the 24th to the 31st, in addition to the 500 meters or kilometers. Not the best way to get it done, but there were other goals I had besides. Actually, the Rafa wasn't really even a goal, it's just something I signed up for, but might as well get it done. But yeah, blue-gray, and every lap we seem to have kicked up on this one a little bit into the orange, but won't be me, I'll just be following the pace. I agree, Eric, man. I mean, I'm good, but for the first time, I'm kind of, especially because I know it's going to be harder, I'm not looking forward to the 11th. Climb. If we were going to do it at 4, I'd be fine, but 4.5 is going to, you can already see it dig deep. I guess the group ahead of us, but I do have a feeling this is going to be a little bit spicier. Four bottles of carbs, so 240 grams of carbs. Another bottle of just straight liquid. 5 bottles. And we'll probably do one more before we're done here. Or at least part of one. Again, I had 6 bottles of carbs, so I just didn't know how long it was going to take, but was planning on 1 per hour. "20 kilometers to go. One more climb." You see what I mean about pack dynamics? It is really elbowy, pushing you to the outside. If you're not paying attention, then you just sit out there if you don't get to a place where you can slot back in. Had an issue with the play controller, was just steering to the left, but that's another video I want to do. The real benefit of play controllers to me is this, just being able to not rely on pack dynamics to put you where you want to be in the draft. It's not about steering people off my wheel, it's about being optimal in the draft when the default steering behavior doesn't want to do it for you. And you just got to be so much more attentive. Like, stop. Like, I can't get back in unless I actually let these guys come past me. And it's just far less efficient. Whereas if I've got the plays, I can kind of hard steer, and there's still collision, but if you're hard steering and you're sort of feathering just slightly, you can find a gap in between bodies and get in without falling all the way to the back, or it's just much easier. And in general, make fine little adjustments as you're going where you don't get pushed out in the first place. But I'm going to stop talking now because I suspect this is going to be spicy the last go. Is that Eric Min up there? Do we get the lap Eric Min? Now I know it's gonna be spicy. It is Eric Min. Don't punish us, Eric. Coffee ride, latch on. Give him a thumbs up. Great wall of coffee. Also, I've seen a lot of people doing this. If you're getting lapped, people have been coffee riding on the group lapping on the hill and getting towed up. Definitely don't do this on anything but the last climb. When the bicycle philosophy starts, you know people are tired. I'm right there with them. All right. That's officially the first time I felt a little, so definitely don't do that on anything but the last lap. And even the last lap, it's unadvisable. Yeah, that's the fastest lap of the day on the last lap. That hurt. That hurt. All right. Rest. Stop pedaling. I'm definitely at, I will say, at hour 4.5. There's thumbnail. But yeah, I was starting to say the tolerance for sugar definitely in hour 5 is, we're getting to have our fill for sure. But it got the job done. I will say in coffee ride as well, I've done 0. My feeling on the coffee ride is, if you gotta do it, I guess, but the descent gives you a natural break every lap, or that's been sufficient for any break that, if you're not overcooking the pace. I'd say if you need coffee on this outside of the descent, you probably overcook the pace. I did not need that many gears. Ouch. And then yeah, high cadence is your friend, unless you want serious muscle fatigue. At least that's my opinion. I've been averaging 87 overall, and the cadence comes down quite a bit on these blue and gray sections, so. But it is all flat from here. All flat from here. We have the arrow if we wanted to sprint for the banner. It's not a race. But I surprisingly would have the legs to do it. I mean, it'd be diminished for sure, but my legs are actually feeling, we'll see how they feel later this evening or tomorrow, but during the ride, they feel fine. Just little rollers. It does look like it kicks up right at the end, which is sort of a cruel joke. I've had marathons do that as well. It's like, damn it, give me a downhill finish. So cruel. Last bump, well, the finish bump as well. That hurts. Not gonna lie, I can feel that in the quads. I could feel that in the quads. Definitely gonna need the foam roll. I could chug a straight water of not sugar water right now, but I don't have one in front of me, so I'll have to wait till right after the ride. Well, that's definitely a lesson learned. bring 2 bottles of this liquid. Help cleanse the palate, dilute the, I'm at about 12% dilution on the sugar water, which is maybe the high side. So dilute that a little bit, cleanse the mouth, the palate, and also just get more water without having to take in carbohydrate. And outside of that, kind of feel like for first time ever doing it, probably last time ever doing it, we got the nutrition mostly right. And the pacing. Yeah, I talked about the sprint. I don't know. We'll see what the group does. If they pace up, I will pace up with them, but I don't think it's going to be a proper sprint at the end. I can tell you if I did, I could probably knock one out, but man, I can just, even thinking about it, after I felt my quads in that little small kicker, if I tried to pop a proper 1,000+ watt sprint, it would hurt. It would hurt. Like, I feel like my legs would fight or they would get it done, but at what price and for what reason? I think this should be required when you turn away from Box Hill. Maniacal laughter. There it is. There it is. No. Not this time, Box Hill. Not this time. But the escalator. Why you do this to me? Somebody else has a right foot issue. Well, I feel your pain, Amanda. Well, it's quieted down a little bit. Oh, last escalator, thank you very much. James Brown. We may be getting hysterical. Under 5 for sure. I love it. I did not expect that going in. Thought under 6. I did not think under 5. Ah, yeah. I probably don't have one more hill in me. I actually felt the twinge for the first time. You probably saw it in my gait. That's pretty funny. We will definitely not be sprinting. Oh yeah. We'll go to 175. Let the heart rate come down a little bit. Yeah. That's a chart.
But if you look at the power and heart rate graph and intervals, you can see it's mostly tame for the ride. It's just those last 3 climbs, for whatever the reason, the group started to amp it up. And you can see it's the climb 1 through 8, fine. Climb 9, a little aggressive. Climb 10, more aggressive. Climb 11, we're almost there. Go! Yeah, if we hadn't done that, I think my legs would have been fine. Those last 3 took it out of me. And there is a lesson learned. I said it during the video, but yeah, if you did those sorts of climbs on 1, 2, 3, early on, you'd be just trashed by the end, or I would, I can tell you. So glad we didn't do that to the end, but even at the end, probably should have been a bit wiser. It was such a good group that I wanted to stay with them, but yeah, that'd be the last lesson learned. Just treat the climb kindly, and it'll treat you kindly.